Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. I was going to do another live stream, but I think that I needed to address this particular live stream more at the moment before I go to the other one that I have scheduled for Friday. So there is that. So anyway, Daniel's Berry Sports Highlights. It's great seeing you here. Happy Wednesday to you. And Earl Laurel, I'm glad to see you here too. Emojis, absolutely. And so anyway, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about one of the people talked about my little spur of the moment long stream from last night after Braglands. I did a stream last night on what is her name? Kamala Harris's running mate. What is his name? Tim Walz. And so I'm going to talk about Tim Walz again in relation to Kamala Harris choosing him, but not necessarily about their campaign, but Ben Shapiro and other people's reaction on the right to choosing Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro, who I actually thought was going to be the choice for Kamala Harris. I actually really did. I was really surprised to find out that she chose a wild card like Tim Walz. And I'm not going to say Tim Walz is a perfect candidate. I'm already discovering things about Tim Walz that he's not as 100% progressive as people will make him out to be, but he's a hell of a lot more progressive than what most Democrats usually offer. So there is that, and I'm I look at him as it'd be different if he was the presidential candidate. He won't have anything to offer other than a carrot stick to progressives who are still hung up on the Bernie movement and AOC as some sort of catalyst for change. And I believe the background, Earl, the background is basically, I think it's a pub. I think it's in the Falkland Islands. I think I found this. I've never been to the Falkland Islands. I was just web surfing, and I saw that, and I was like, I think it was the Falkland Islands. I saw this, and that's actually a nice little background scene. So I decided to put that as background there. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. Josh Shapiro is not the VP, and I thought he was going to be. And if I was still in vote blue, no matter who camp, I would call Tim Walz a solid choice, because you need a bulldog, somebody who's going to go and have Kamala Harris be polite and have him just kind of be rough around the edges, and he is that and all. But the people from the two-party system is flawed, and not that you're going to find perfect candidates even in third parties, but the two-party system is so corrupt that even people who may appear to be better within that duopoly going to have some baggage. So, and I'm not trying to be a purity tester or anything like that, but I call bullshit on Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro decided to go on the attack, and I'm going to go ahead and play a video on Ben Shapiro deciding to go and attack Kamala Harris, and I'm not going to even put it on high speed, because to put it on high speed when Ben Shapiro talks, I mean, he talks like you would put a video on high speed. So there is that. And so you would never be able to understand a damn word he has to say if I was able to do that. So I'll let you listen to a little bit of Ben Shapiro. I'll call on his bullshit, because facts do hurt his damn feelings, and they don't care about his feelings, and he's butthurt because of it.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, I could not be more excited. I'm going to bring you all the details in just a moment. Remember.
Oh, my goodness. Give me a second.
Literally every politician. It's like maybe we'll see a new version of them. It'll be a new makeover. Here.
I'm sorry. For some reason, it just jumped to the very end as I was watching this from earlier. So, pardon my little glitch in the very beginning. Oh, my goodness. Don't flub on me right away. Sorry about that.
Kamala Harris's pick is in, and it is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. I could not be more excited. I'm going to bring you all the details in just a moment. Remember, we can only go live like this because of our members. Daily Wire Plus members have unlimited on-demand access to our uncensored, ad-free real-time breaking news, investigative journalism. Do not be left in the dark. Join the fight right now at dailywire.com/subscribe. So it is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and you can see that I'm a little pleased about this. And there are many reasons that I am pleased about this. The biggest reason that I am pleased about this is because the mask is off. Kamala Harris has been attempting to present herself as a moderate. She keeps switching all of her positions. She'll send out her surrogates to pretend that she doesn't hold the thing now that she held 4 years ago.
Yeah, just like Donald Trump. Donald Trump was for this position 1 year, and he flip-flopped, and Mitt Romney was for this position 1 year, then he flip-flopped it on that. But it's only okay when Republicans flip-flop. But it's never okay when a Democrat flip-flop, or if a Democrat stands his ground, they're just being stubborn, right? So whatever a Democrat or anybody you oppose do, they're going to go and get shit on because you have a partisan narrative that you want to try to prove to the world. So hold on a second, let me fix this. We'll let you continue. Come on.
And now it has been proved it is all a lie. She wants to please her radical base. That is all. She is running a base election. And this is so online. It is so brat, as the kids say. It is so weirdly clique. I mean, she is absolutely ignoring the moderate votes she needs to win in order to please a base of people who are radical.
Okay. I'm moderate. Not moderate by your definition or the normal Democratic definition of the word. I am moderate by maybe, I would say, an international centrist definition of the word. My politics would be pretty middle of the road in most European countries, most Latin American countries, most places around the world. My politics in most democratic societies, whether it's the Western world or developing countries that are democratic or democracy oriented, would be considered middle of the road, because I would be considered center left in most countries. Here in America, because the Overton window is so far to the right, I'm considered hardcore left. But your definition of what a moderate is and my definition of what a moderate is are two different things, Ben.
She has opened herself up wide to every attack on her radicalism by picking Tim Walz. See, there was another pick that was available, and everyone sort of expected that person to be picked. That person, of course, was the Pennsylvania Governor, Josh Shapiro. Pennsylvania has 18 electoral votes. Josh Shapiro has a 61% approval rating in Pennsylvania. Very easy pick. Super, super simple pick for Kamala Harris. And we know why she didn't pick Josh Shapiro. And the reason is because he's a Jew. It's that.
Okay. I'm going to call bullshit on you right there, Ben Shapiro. And I'm going to call bullshit on you. You want to know why? You know this. Kamala Harris is married to Doug Emhoff. Doug Emhoff is Jewish. Her stepdaughters are Jewish. That means that she's married to Doug Emhoff. That means when she goes to bed at night, she gets her freak on occasionally with Doug Emma. They they do what most married couples do. They fuck. They obviously, that's obviously not anti-Semitism on her part. If she's married to somebody of an opposite faith and a different ethnicity. You, on the other hand, do not believe in interfaith marriage. Who's the bigot, Ben Shapiro? Who's the fucking bigot?
It's that simple. Everyone knows this. Democrats know this. Republicans know this. Before we even get to the insanity of picking Tim Walz, you have to understand the insanity of not picking Josh Shapiro, which is why I'm so pleased today. Because
here's another thing. I know what you're going to get at, and I'm going to call you down on this, by the way.
Josh Shapiro is a very talented politician. Josh Shapiro has portrayed himself successfully in Pennsylvania, a purple state, as a moderate, which is, again, why he has the approval of 6 in 10 voters in a swing state. And Kamala Harris overlooked him because she didn't want to piss off her pro-Hamas base.
Okay. Yeah, you're saying that now because she didn't choose Josh Shapiro. But had she chosen Josh Shapiro, you would have said opposite. You would have been denouncing him as part of that so-called Hamas base. That's what you would have been doing. And you would have also don't even pretend like you were going to go and vote for Kamala Harris if she would have chosen Josh Shapiro as her running mate. Don't even pretend that. Like you have some stake in the Democratic Party. You're doing this video because you want to go and shit on the Democrats. Oh, I join you as far as shitting on the Democrats. But when I shit on the Democrats, I shit on the Democrats for intelligent reasons, not your bullshit reasons.
It is that simple. She has too many radicals in her base who don't want the Jew. Now, Tim Walz, positionally.
Hold on, Buster. A lot of those people that you refer to not wanting the Jew, that you refer to, the ones that you refer to, you're trying to accuse of anti-Semitism. Let's see. I will bet you that in 2019, 2020, and 2015, 2016, those who could have voted back then, back then, who were they probably supporting more than likely? They were probably supporting somebody you opposed most in the Democratic primaries in 2016 and 2020. And that was Bernie Sanders. And the last time I checked, he's Jewish. And his father was almost a damn statistics of the Nazis because he barely escaped from Poland when the Nazis came in 1939, Ben. So, and I will talk about that a little bit later.
Is actually not very different from Josh Shapiro on Israel, but that's not the question. The question is, Josh Shapiro is a semi-observant Jew. He is somebody who's expressed Zionist bona fides, and this was very bad. This could not be.
Ben, nobody gives a shit one way or other if somebody is observant in the Jewish faith, or whether somebody's Catholic, or whether somebody is a Baptist, or whether somebody's Episcopalian, or Presbyterian, or Methodist, or whatever. Nobody gives a shit about religiosity. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. You're a piece of shit, and it ain't because you're Jewish. You're a piece of shit because your ideology stinks. One of my favorite podcasts I listen to is Due Dissidence. And today's Russell Dobler's birthday. Happy birthday, Russell Dobler. Friends of the Willie Bragg Show. Keaton Weiss and Russell Dobler are both Jewish. And they have a great podcast. It's not because they're Jewish. It's because they're Keaton Weiss and they're Russell Dobler. And that's basically the difference right there. You're Jewish and they're Jewish. They have a great podcast. Your podcast and your program stinks. Has nothing to do with the fact that you're Jewish or they're Jewish. Has something to do with your ideology stinking, and Due Dissidence ideology is pretty damn good. I believe in policy. I believe in judging people by their character, not by the color of their skin or their ethnicity or their religiosity or what have you. Come off of it.
Accepted. In fact, Josh Shapiro, in expectation of possibly being picked by Kamala Harris, had already started to moderate his positions on Israel in an attempt to please the Democrats' pro-Hamas base.
There are Republicans who are also critical of Israel too. Tucker Carlson. I think you had some internet wars with him and had some choice words with him. Candace Owens. I think you've had your ass saw to it that she got fired for what I can tell. Old school people like Pat Buchanan. These people. Last time I checked, they weren't a bunch of liberal Democrats. They're conservative Republicans. And for the most part, they're horrible. The only good thing I can say about them is that they are kind of correct on some aspects of foreign policy. They tend to be anti-war, and I won't begrudge them for that. You, on the other hand, your tiny little penis gets a stiffy every time. You know that little micro little ballpoint head, of a thing called a penis that you have, the one that you're not even able to get your wife wet. We know about that because you said it. You get your tiny little micro hard on. You get your little you get your little clit wet over basically war. That's the only thing that gets you off. It's war. There's not a damn conflict around the world that you're not opposed to. So I'll call you down even more.
Back when he was 20, he'd written a piece that was perfectly obvious in which he said there would be no Palestinian state because the Palestinians are far too radicalized and want the destruction of the state of Israel. Well, over the course of the last 3 days, he tried to walk that back. He tried to say, well, I don't believe that anymore. I believe in a two-state solution. Here is Josh Shapiro sacrificing his actual beliefs in favor of a not vice presidential slot, as it turns out. Again, this is
if Kamala Harris wins, she will probably give Josh Shapiro a spot in the administration. I can guarantee you that. In fact, I promise that. That's a guarantee. And probably will be in foreign policy. She will do that. I hate to break it to you, Ben. One of the problems I do have with Kamala Harris is her extreme pro-Israel position. And she's a Zionist. And she's just as much as one as Tim Walz, as much as one as J.D. Vance, and as much as one as Donald Trump. And one of the reasons you didn't vote for Donald Trump in the year 2016 was that you were probably concerned about his position on Israel. I remember Glenn Beck saying something about that. We'll talk about Glenn Beck later.
This is the person she should have picked, and she didn't, and we all know why, and the answer rhymes with Jew. Here is Josh Shapiro.
Philadelphia Inquirer is writing about a 1993 college article you wrote where you expressed skepticism about a two-state solution. I understand you do support a two-state solution now. Can you kind of just talk about that evolution?
Something I wrote when I was 20? Is that what you're talking about? I was 20. Look, I have said for years, long before October 7th, that I favor a two-state solution. Israelis and Palestinians living peacefully side by side, being able to determine their own futures and their own destinies, being able to work as they want and worship as they want, and understand the power of living peacefully side by side and how that will lift up both parties in this, or both sides of this conversation.
Again,
you see, here's the thing. You oppose that. What does that say about you? you don't want peace. He said he wanted peace. Now, he's hawkish on Israel, and his position's too hawkish for me. But I bet you really deep down don't think his position is hawkish enough.
Again, this was Josh Shapiro trying to moderate his own positions on Israel in order to please the pro-Hamas base. It turns out the thing they object to is not really his position on Israel. The thing they object to is that Josh Shapiro was a Jew. And that's
if you want to go there about his position on Israel doesn't bother him, but the problem is the fact that he's Jewish. If you really want to go there, Ben, we can go there. That's actually the Republican Party. The Republican Party are strident Zionists, and a lot of them hate Jews. You got it backwards. Now, the anti-Israeli sentiment that exists in some areas of the Democratic Party is not based on quote-unquote Jew hatred. You know, you got people who are on the far left who are maybe inside the Democratic Party and outside the Democratic Party, you know, that have a harsh critique of Israel. It's based on anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism. It's not based on anti-Jewish bigotry. It's based on what they see as objective, systematic racism and bigotry against the Palestinian people that's there. Now, to be fair, there's been anti-Jewish bigotry committed by Palestinians and Arabs overall over the decades too, and that's also unexcusable. But here's the thing, Ben. Here's the thing. Whenever Israel gets attacked, you know, Hamas goes fire some rockets and they kill, you know, let's say like about a decade ago there was an instance where they killed maybe it was something like about 40 people. Israel will retaliate and be like 400. I mean, and same thing here will happen with October 7th. You know, the attacks and the retaliation that Israel went nonstop after October 7th. And you believe in the same, you peddle the same conspiracy theories that they have from day one about burning babies and all that. That never happened. That never happened. And you still peddle that around like it's the damn truth. And Netanyahu did that the other week in Congress last week before last week before last. So you got it backwards. The John Hagees of the world, the people you consider your allies, are far more dangerous to everybody on this planet because Christian Zionism is even more dangerous than your brand of Zionism, Ben. And even though I disagree with your revisionist Zionism, compared to the Christian Zionists, I can understand why you may be a Zionist. But someone like John Hagee, he doesn't give a damn about Jewish people or Islamic people or anybody else. All he cares about is that piece of real estate, that piece of rock in the Middle East. Whether you want to call it Israel or whether you want to call it Palestine, they want Israel and Iran to attack each other, and they want to see World War III start over there, and they want to usher in, the apocalypse and all of that. That's what it comes down to. And this is why the evangelical Christians, the are married to the neocons in the Republican Party today. And all this talk about America first, we got rid of all their neocons. They're all Democrats now. As I said in last night's stream, maybe a couple of people, maybe a handful of people who voted Republican that didn't hate gay people and were pro-choice on abortion, but supported the Bush-Cheney policy otherwise. Yeah, some of them didn't like Trump and they went to the Democratic Party. But the rest of them, they stayed in the Republican Party and they're still just as neocon as they were during the Bush-Cheney years. I'm referring to the Mike Pompeos. I'm referring to the John Boltons. Even though he didn't vote for Trump, his write-in choice, Dick Cheney, was much worse. And you're closer to the ideology of Dick Cheney than you are Donald Trump. But I'll let you continue with your lies and your bullshit and your smear mercenary.
And that's not me saying that. That is Democrats saying that. That is Jared Moskowitz from Florida. Quote, Josh's position on Israel is almost identical to everybody else, but he's being held to a different standard. So you have to ask yourself why. Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida. It's noticeable that of all the people that she is carefully considering, the only Jewish candidate is getting excruciating, very specific scrutiny, particularly around his position on Israel.
Okay, you mentioned Debbie Wasserman Schultz in a favorable light. I'm almost glad you did, because you and Debbie Wasserman Schultz deserve each other. You and Hurricane Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Fuck Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016 in the Democratic National Committee. And in 2020, she engaged in electoral fraud against Jen Perlman, who's been on this show. And the fact that I know you don't support Jen Perlman, does that make you anti-Semitic, Ben? Does that make you, Does that make you anti-Semitic that you don't support Jen Perlman?
House Democrat Jake Auchincloss from Massachusetts. He said that it's pretty obvious that Democrats were attacking Josh Shapiro based on the fact that he was a Jew. Here was Jake Auchincloss saying precisely that just yesterday.
Listen, Buster, you have engaged in identity politics. You have done what a lot of people you've accused of on the left, whether they're inside the Democratic Party or they're outside the Democratic Party, who are independent lefties types, whether the Green Party, what have you. You have accused everybody on the left, whether they're African American or whether they're Hispanic or whether they're LGBTQ or Muslims or what have you, that they're all a bunch of victims, and they need to get over whatever is bothering them. And facts doesn't care about their feelings, and you have done that over and over again, criticizing them for identity politics. And there are aspects of identity politics by some on the left that's been weaponized in goofy ways. But you're doing the same thing. What has it been? When you do it, it's okay. It's a righteous cause when you do it. But when others who disagree with you are doing it, it's somehow wrong. You're so full of shit.
It's clip 16.
Those in the overly online left who are attacking Josh Shapiro's pro-Israel positions in a different way than they are attacking non-Jewish Veep contenders' positions, they're just telling on themselves. There is a strong undercurrent of anti-Semitism to that. It's unacceptable. Every contender's positions on all policy issues, their track records in elective office, all of that is fair game. That is totally open to be subjected to interrogation and to questioning by the Harris team, by observers, but holding him to a different standard because of his religion just simply isn't who we are as a Democratic Party.
Again, this is great. And the reason it's great is because clarity is a good thing. I am very pleased by the fact that the Democratic Party has been very clear on this. They can have somebody who is at least titularly pro-Israel in Tim Walz, so long as he's not a Jew. It's the Jew from the swing state that Kamala Harris needs to win and is currently running in a dead heat with Donald Trump, who could not be picked for one simple reason. There are too many members of the Democratic Party base who don't like Jews. And that is particularly true, unfortunately, in minority communities among the Democrat base. That is true by poll data. It's unfortunate, but it is a reality. So
that's actually not true. If you're talking about Louis Farrakhan for Nation of Islam, he's a crank. He is a crank. He's not even on the left. I mean, he's no different from David Duke and all that. So, don't conflate, if you hear an African American or somebody from another minority group who criticizes Israel and they compare the occupation of the Palestinians to the oppressions of their causes or what have you, do not go there, because they're not being anti-Semitic at all. for what I can tell. You know, I mean, if anybody, I mean, I'm sure maybe some individual somewhere might be, but I know what you're referring to, and the instances you're referring to, I have not seen the evidence of anti-Semitism that you're pointing it out. You're making a straw man that's not there. That is not there. And there is plenty of anti-Semitism to go around in the Republican Party. The way you guys talk about George Soros. And I got some problems with George Soros. I mean, you know, while y'all think he's like this big socialist villain, dude went and supported Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders, gave her a lot of money. You know, I don't believe in cancel culture, but he got canceled right away, right there, as far as I was concerned. He's a shit lib. He's not. He support corporate Democrats. He doesn't support the real left. You know, the way you guys talk about globalists and globalism, when you talk about globalism, is usually a code word for Jews. Hollywood is usually a code word by the right wing for Jews. You know, teacher unions. You know, elite. When I hear the right talk about, you know, the liberal elites out there, you know, and the way y'all talk about it, and it's usually a lot of dog whistles. So there is plenty of anti-Semitism out there that is out there, and it's, you know, if you want to go there, we'll go there, Ben. You will go there, but you know, they need to call you out on this. I don't know why more people don't call you out on these things, because it is so damn obvious.
There are many things that are betrayed by the Tim Walz pick. But thing number one, can't have a Jew. That is the number one thing betrayed by the Tim Walz.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why that's bullshit. In 2000, Al Gore chose Joe Lieberman as his running mate. Now, I despise Joe Lieberman, the late Joe Lieberman. It's not because he's Jewish. I despise him because he's a corporate Democrat. The Republican Party, has there ever been a Jewish person on the Republican ticket? I can't think of a Republican that's ever been Jewish on a Republican ticket, but the Democrats did not have Joe Lieberman. Also, look at Bernie Sanders. And we know you didn't support Bernie Sanders. So if that's all it takes, you got to support a Jewish person because they're Jewish. You know, that's kind of like, you know, you criticizing the Democrats saying you got to support Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton's a woman. You're correct when people like you were claiming supporting Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton's a woman is a stupid thing to do. And I would agree with you, you know, or supporting Barack Obama because he's African-American, because, you know, that's a stupid thing to do. If you want to support Hillary Clinton because you like her policies, I don't, but if you do like her strictly on policies, that's fine. If you want to support Barack Obama for the same reason, and again, I got called out in a bullshit way over Gavin Newsom's recall back in 2021. I said that if I lived in California in the year 2021, I would have voted for the recall and voted for the Green Party candidate. I forgot the name of the Green Party candidate because I don't like Gavin Newsom. And some right-wing crank that I knew in college on Facebook told me, well, you're a racist because you didn't go, you're supposed to support Larry Elder for the governorship of California. I'm like, look here, motherfucker. Don't try that shit with me because it's not going to work. I don't like Larry Elder, not because he's African-American. I don't like Larry Elder because Larry Elder is full of shit. Just like you're full of shit, Ben Shapiro. I mean, I don't like Blair White, not because she's trans. I don't like Blair White because she's right-wing. I don't like Dave Rubin because he's gay or Jewish. I don't like Dave Rubin because he's right-wing. I don't like Candace Owens, not because she's African-American. I don't like Candace Owens because she's right-wing. I don't like Lauren Chan because she's Asian. I don't like Lauren. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't like the beautiful but evil Lauren Chen because she's Asian. I don't like the beautiful but evil Lauren Chen because she's right wing. I don't like you, Ben Shapiro, because you're Jewish. I don't like you because you're right wing. I don't like Steve Crowder because he's a white piece of shit. I dislike Steven Crowder because he's just a piece of shit. Right wing. See where it goes?
Paul's pick by Kamala Harris. Thing number 2, of course, is that she is full-scale radical. She is full-scale radical. Really? Remember, Tim Walz is Bernie Sanders from Minnesota.
Tim Walz may be one of the better Democrats as far as governing in the various states across the country. He's not radical. He's not as radical as Bernie Sanders. He's maybe a pre-Clinton era Democrat. And that's too radical for you. It's too radical for a lot of Democrats. You know, I mean, and I am surprised that she chose Tim Walz, but I thought about it, and I think it's really a carrot stick approach to the left. Not because she loves the left, but she probably got savvy enough and smart enough to realize that punching left is what's been hurting the Democrats. She's not going to do anything for the left other than try to bring them back into the fold, because look at what's happening under the Biden presidency. He's basically opened up his ass cheeks, and his demented ass took a diarrhea. With his diarrhea, he just shit on the left nonstop. She realizes that, and some people in her inner circle realizes that, and they're realizing this Clinton model of fucking the left and punching left all the time might not be working. Now, I don't expect them to do anything, because a vice presidential candidate's not going to do anything but be a figurehead. She's got the bully pulpit, and she's going to still call all the shots, and he's going to follow her. It's not going to be all that different from when Tony Blair was the prime minister. Because when Tony Blair was prime minister, he was a horrible piece of shit for a prime minister. Now, the deputy prime minister under Tony Blair was Jonathan Prescott. And Jonathan Prescott was an old school socialist, the type that Margaret Thatcher used to vilify with some accuracy. I don't mean accuracy in the sense that she's correct to vilify socialism, but the fact that his policies were policies and his ideology was ideology that offended Margaret Thatcher. Far more than what Tony Blair evolved himself into being. So my point is, if Jonathan Prescott didn't affect Tony Blair in a positive way, I don't expect Tim Walz to affect Kamala Harris in a positive way. Capiche?
He's Bernie Sanders with a Fargo accent. That's all he is. He is a radical leftist. We're going to get to everything Tim Walz related in just one second. It's so mind-bogglingly stupid, and that's why I'm so excited about it. Mind-bogglingly stupid. The first rule of a vice presidential pick is, first, do no harm. And she just harmed herself. Why? Well, because she forewent the opportunity to pick, a popular swing state governor. She didn't pick Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. She picked somebody from a state Republicans haven't won for like several decades.
It would have actually, tactically, it would have been smart to either choose tactically. It would have been smarter to choose Josh Shapiro, in the sense that she would need Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan. It would have been smart to do that. Gretchen Whitmer, I think that two women on the ticket probably would scare off a lot of people. And I think that's why she wasn't picked. And it could be maybe the only grain of truth to this is Michigan with an Arab population. The gap is a swing state up for play. And come on, Ben. If you were Arab yourself, you'd be upset. Unless you're a traitor to your people, you'd be upset what's going on in Palestine. Have you no empathy?
And then she proceeded to pick somebody who underscores her own radicalism. Her entire campaign thus far has been lying about everything she believes. Everything. Like
Kamala Harris is not a radical. She's a corporate Democrat. Very much so. Very much so.
She's no longer in favor of a fracking ban. She's no longer in favor of gun seizures. She's no longer in favor of radically increasing taxes. She's a moderate, you see. But then she picked somebody who is the most radical person who is on the short list, thus opening herself up wide to every charge that she is a radical. It's absolute incompetence. She is too online. She's just too online. She was hearing too much from the online crowd. And what this truly betrays, and this is the reason I'm the most excited, what it truly betrays as somebody who wants Donald Trump to win, is that Kamala Harris is still politically incompetent. She was politically incompetent in 2019 when she ran for president because she was too online. She had audience capture from her radical base, and she kept trying to please them. And then she would kind of back away from it, moderate a little bit, and then she would try to please them and then back away. She has not changed one iota. No, there is no new Kamala. On the right, there's always this is the moment Donald Trump changed and became president. And it never is that. Donald Trump, it turns out, is always Donald Trump, and Kamala Harris is always Kamala Harris. Obnoxious, arrogant, radical, stupid, because this is a stupid.
You just described Donald Trump. You may be accurate about Kamala Harris being not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree and silly and goofy and all of that, but you also just described Donald Trump, the man that you did not support in 2016 because you thought he was too liberal, but then you ended up becoming a massive cocksucker for him in 2020. But as soon as Ron DeSantis came along, you decided to become a Ron DeSantis cocksucker, but you settled for being a Donald Trump cocksucker right now because, I guess there's no choice for you, Ben. See, I'm braver than you are because as tempting as it was for 5 seconds with Tim Walz, I also can see where what is good about Tim Walz will be watered down, but you think that it's going to be enhanced. And I see just the opposite of what you see. And I'm correcting, you're wrong. As much as usual, yet you have millions of followers. Such an unfair world in a lot of ways.
Stupid campaign move, a full-scale, full-stop, stupid campaign move by Kamala Harris. We'll get to who Tim Walz is, because you've never heard of him, and nobody had until a week ago, until he came out of left field, because Democrats needed somebody who was titularly from the Midwest, even in a non-swing state, just so they could pick the person who wasn't a Jew. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First, there's only one cell phone company that gives you free premium.
Oh my God, what a dolt he is. I'm going to scroll it forward to right there. Okay, right here, because I'm kind of short on time, so you could just see, you could just see him for what he is, Ben Shapiro, a tireless, silly hack.
Is the execrable Michael Knowles and his cigars. Michael, I'm excited. I got to tell you, I'm excited for the first time since Joe Biden dropped out of the race, and we've had a couple of weeks of the media not asking Kamala Harris any questions at all. We are now, as I've pointed out multiple times on the show, on day 17 of 0 questions being asked to Kamala Harris. But now she has made her vice presidential pick, and contrary to all common sense, contrary to all intelligence, she has picked a radical Democrat from a non-swing state who has very little appeal other than that he's like a white guy, I suppose, kind of. What do you make of the pick?
It seems like a big unforced error. I was pulling for Shapiro just so that we would have an in. I assume, at the family reunion, you could have gotten us some access
not related,
to the White House.
Not related.
Oh, got it. Okay. I assumed that she would probably not pick Shapiro because, as you just said, the Democrats hate Jews right now. And
there's more Jew hatred in the Republican Party than there is in the Democratic Party. That's not to say that the entire Republican Party is anti-Semitic or anything like that. But you know, and again, it's not like I love the Democrats saying this, but but when y'all say that, it's a way to slam at all the left, even people who are outside the Democratic Party. Fuck you, Michael Knowles.
And the pro-Palestine people are going to show up to the DNC, and Kamala is this weird Democrat figure because she is, on the one hand, extremely radical to the left of Bernie Sanders in the Senate.
Oh my God! Did y'all hear this? That Kamala Harris is to the left of Bernie Sanders. Fuck you, Michael Knowles. You're a fucking retard. You are a fucking retard.
And on the other hand, the consummate establishment empty suit. And she is weirdly both of those things. And the way she can be both of those things is that the Democrat establishment has moved extremely far left.
Again, you're a fucking retard. I mean, there's no other way to call it. If you think the Democratic Party has moved far left, I got news for you. The only way you could accurately think that is because the Republican Party has moved so far right, and the Democratic Party has moved along right with y'all. Because whereas the Republican Party is in fascist territories in a lot of ways. Not every Republican, because I'm a kind of person that doesn't believe in straw manning everybody on the other side. Where y'all have no nuance. You want to say, when y'all go and attack your opponents, you want to say everybody on the other side is like this without any nuance. I don't do that, but you do. You do. To say these things, you know, look at how much authoritarianism you guys support. I mean, you know, and those that throw stones at glass houses.
The Democratic establishment is pushing gender ideology on kids. The Democrat establishment is pro-abortion up until the moment of birth. So that's how she...
A gender ideology, and you want to eradicate the trans people from existence. You want a trans Holocaust against these people. So I heard you at the CPAC thing. Your position is, don't act like your position's reasonable, motherfucker.
She could skirt that line. But the question was going to be, which way is she going to lean? Is she going to lean into the Democrat establishment and go with Shapiro, or is she going to embrace her radical leftism and go with Waltz? I thought maybe Mark Kelly, astronaut, senator, seems a little bit more moderate. Maybe he could have been a choice. No, she said, forget about all of that. She is going to lean into the leftism. She is going to lean into the Democrat intifada. She's going to lean into where she thinks the base is. And all I can say about it is, at least she's being true to her roots. At least she's giving a clear ideological vision for the campaign, and she's sending a clear message to swing state voters in the Rust Belt, the centrists and the moderates and the people who just don't really like Trump that much. She's saying, hey, vote for me. I'm going all the way left.
You got to really ask backwards. She's pretty much, the Democratic Party for decades have pretty much have told the left, fuck y'all. We don't like you. We don't need you. We don't want you around, but you better vote for us anyway. And if we lose, we will blame you. That's really the truth. But you don't see it that way. I mean, you really do, but you really want to go and get your sheep-like followers who are poor, uneducated, and easy to command to go and believe the bullshit that you spout, you and Ben Shapiro and everybody, all you talking heads on this online right media. And all y'all are, you pretend to be hip and new and refreshing. All y'all are doing is regurgitating stupid, outdated 1993 Rush Limbaugh talking points. That's what you're doing. It was stupid and regressive and ass backwards when Rush Limbaugh was saying this shit in 1993. And putting a younger faces to 1993 Rush Limbaugh talking points is equally stupid today. So had enough of these motherfuckers. So anyhow, let's see what we got here. So there's Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles being, full of shit. So, as I said, when it comes to Josh Shapiro, I just look at him as another Democrat. And I don't think that people are going to be like, oh, he's Jewish, I can't support him. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. In fact, I think it would have been more of a thing if Trump would have chosen Tim Scott. I think that Trump chosen Tim Scott, some of the white people, some of the real overt racists would have been like, I can't vote for the Trump ticket if it has Tim Scott in it. Although it might have been politically more savvy for Trump to choose Tim Scott because he might have been able to get some moderate people on the fence to make him not look so scary and racist or what have you. So I think it was actually kind of dumb for Trump to pick J.D. Vance, who loved to fuck couches. So, as I said, I don't plan to vote for this ticket, Harris Walz. I don't plan to vote for Trump Vance either. Because she is not running on Medicare for all. She's not running for Medicare for all. And if she's not going to run for Medicare for all on her platform, I know that once she's elected, she will not fight for it. So, and that's one of my major issues. That is one of my major issues. And the way that Ben Shapiro, wants to sit there and attack Bernie Sanders, come off of it. One could call Ben Shapiro anti-Semitic for not wanting to support Bernie Sanders. But I do that just to illustrate how much of a bullshitter Ben Shapiro is. And I'm actually kind of irritated with Bernie Sanders at the moment. I don't want to make it sound like that I'm like a Bernie Sanders cheerleader like I used to be. His Joe Biden's my good friend attitude just really irritates the hell out of me. And the fact that he was such a pro Joe Biden cuck during all this time, even during this time where even centrist Democrats were talking about replacing Biden, which they were correct. They needed to do that. They needed to do that a year or two earlier. Honestly, he had no business in 2019, 2020 running for president. We all knew his brain was melting. I am kind of laughing at the Democratic Party's misfortunes for what they done. They forced Joe Biden on everyone. So I am amazed by the makeover of Kamala Harris. So, she was unpopular and unlikable. All of a sudden, she became popular and likable. That is crazy. That's happened. So let's go on Twitter for a moment. And because the reason I'm going to say this is that the due dissidents basically said that for people so against DEI, conservative seems really butthurt that a Jew got passed over over a promotion. So Ari Fleischer says the left did it to Joe Lieberman. Now they did it to Josh Shapiro. The D Party is not a home for strong supporters of Israel. It's time for the Jewish community to recognize the power in the D Party rests with its anti-Israel progressive base. Okay, let me say this to Ari Fleischer. When it comes to Joe Lieberman, fuck the late Joe Lieberman. I pull down my pants and take a shit on everything Joe Lieberman stood for. He supported the Iraq War. Strike one. He played a role in the Democratic Party with being one of the leading figures in the Democratic Leadership Council, which basically Reaganized the Democratic Party in the 1990s. Strike two. And strike three. We did not get a public option added to Obamacare because he was the deciding vote. He forced the vote on the Democrats to not have a public option. I don't give a damn what his religion is. I disagree with him passionately on those three things for the most part, and other things as well. So fuck Joe Lieberman. Fuck Joe Lieberman. Fuck Joe Lieberman. May he rot in hell. Lee Zeldin says, it's amazing that despite of America's right, left, and center agreeing that Josh Shapiro was Harris's best pick for the VP, at the end of the day, Shapiro being Jewish disqualify him. It says so much about the state of today's Democratic Party. Yet the Republican Party never nominated a Jewish person. And the Democratic Party, in their defense, did put Joe Lieberman as their VP in 2000. Who was their worst person you could have for a VP. And Bernie Sanders was a major contender in the primaries in 2016, 2020. I don't think that Lee Zeldin was a Bernie bro the last time I checked. Could it be that he's anti-Semitic? Glenn Beck, remember him? Kamala wasn't allowed to have a Jew on the Democrat ticket. That should tell you everything. It doesn't tell me a damn thing because you just made that up. You just made that up. Nobody would give a damn about Josh Shapiro being Jewish. They may give a damn about how much of a Zionist he would be in terms of supporting Netanyahu, because Netanyahu is an asshole. And people like you, Glenn Beck, the problem with the Netanyahu speech, people like yourself were worshiping at the feet of Netanyahu. But, think about it. And I'll say it again. I'll say it without apologies. Ben Shapiro needs to go and shut the fuck up and go around to the theaters and lecture everybody on Barbie, I guess. So, that's what I got to say about Ben Shapiro. All right. I probably better be going very soon, but I will talk to everybody here on the chat line. Okay. Johnny Ringo says, hey, folks, moderate by global standards and academic standards. That is correct. Thank you. Yeah, as I said, happy birthday to Russell Dobular. I actually got to drop him a message on Facebook. Warren, how are you doing? Good show today. And he'll be on again at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, morning extra. Be sure to check it out. Let's see. How you doing, Desert Mantis? What is happy? Let's see. All right. I'm looking through here. And that's how we always refer to Lauren Chen as the beautiful but evil Lauren Chen. She's attractive. When they brag about how much more attractive the conservative women are over left-wing women, I'm like, maybe with the exception of Lauren Chen, and she's evil on policy, but she's physically pretty to look at. She might be the shoe on head on the right. So if shoe on head was Asian, I guess she would be Lauren Chen. But suffice to say, Ed Heller, how are you doing today? Asteroids and Volcanoes 2024. The Zion twits are having a tantrum on Twitter. Yes, they are, as they normally do. So there you have it. I'm going to log off very shortly. I should be back here more or less on Friday evening at 7:30. I try to be here at 7:30, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And you see me. And on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, we're Braglands. We're back on the air. Just thought to let y'all know. And if there's an emergency stream, you may see me pop up with an emergency stream somewhere in between. So there is that. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share your contents on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. What's else to say? Reject corporate media. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my appropriate platforms, including Braglands. And remember to free and pardon Ed Snowden. Fully pardon Julian Assange. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all. Free speech guaranteed for all. And see you all next time. I have to go to work now. Y'all take care now. You hear?